Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away. Joe for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for circuit spot Frankenstein. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the YesterYear Racing Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. We are at Talladega Super Speedway to watch a whole lot of Titans do battle on the large track here in Alabama. 35 entries here tonight. As always, I'm your host, James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second as drivers are getting lined up here at the Super Speedway. And we're getting ready to start this show. Let's run through your grid. On pole, Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine. His teammate Josh Robinson starting second. Greg McDaniel starting third. Courtney Nelson starts fourth. William Martin starting fifth. Michael Watts starts sixth. We've got Jerry Isaac starting seventh. Wayne Huppard starting eighth. Alan Wanamaker starting ninth. John Hinchcliffe starts 10th. We've got Michael Titanium Everhart starting 11th. Roger Hurley starting 12th, cycle it on back, and we've got Clint Rice starting 13th, Dan Hill starts 14th, Brian Lindsay starting 15th, we've also got Joey Buscemi starting, it's going to be Gavin Adams starting 16th, Dustin Martinson starting 17th, Joey Buscemi starts 18th, Patrick Martindale starting 19th, Brian Lynch starting 20th, Chris Bates starts 21st, Brian McCubbin starting 22nd, TJ Rogers starts 23rd, Lloyd Moore starting 24th, and let's cycle it back one final time to James Waldo starting 25th, Clay Walker starts 26th, Jeff Lyden starting 27th, Jim Smith starts 28th, Jack Yeagerman starting 29th, Sean Foltz starting 30th, Victor Lane starting 31st, Mark Fish starts 32nd, Robert Garisco starting 33rd, Tom Amassi starting 34th, and the newcomer, Troy Techmeyer in the 102 will round out our massive grid here today. As always, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. As there is 35 drivers out on the high banks here. 90 laps on the board, the left side of your screen. That's the two teammates out front. The front row, Robinson and Ogle. McDaniel and Nelson will be your second row. Martin and Watts will be the third row. Yeah, the fans already commented. I've got to agree. I was expecting a little bit more than 40 drivers. Honestly, I was expecting a full grid here at Talladega. Usually the Super Speedway brings the drivers out of the woodwork, but maybe the 7 incident point limit scared a few away. It's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out, though. I'm excited to see. Historically, here at the YesterYear Racing Cup Series, we've seen some very long green flag runs, some great action on pit road, and historically, we have at least one big one at the Super Speedways. I'll be interested to see if that's going to be the case here tonight as we make our way through turns 3 and 4. Here we go as the safety car gets ready to come down pit road, diving down to the right side of your screen. It's going to be on Ogle and Robinson on that front row to set the stage here tonight. Ogle waiting for the green. And we are green flag racing here at Talladega. Robinson gets a good start on the outside line. Ogle's going to hug the inside line, getting pushed by McDaniel's number 1. Already seeing some drivers hop down to that bottom line. Robinson still up on the high side. He's got Courtney Nelson in the number 48 tucked in behind. I also see Mike Watts, the number 84, also on that high side down low. It's still Ogle with McDaniel giving him a push. You've also got the 94 of William Martin. And I think I just saw Wayne Hufford, the 74, starting to make some moves up on the high side. Excuse me, the 75 of Hufford. Tucked in behind Watts, the 84 machine. Still too wide. Now, you're going to see a few different strategies here tonight. You're going to have drivers pushing early, such as Robinson, Ogle, Nelson, McDaniel, Watts, everybody up inside the top 5. But you're also going to have drivers further back, kind of just trying to hold on to the draft of the lead pack and staying out of any potential carnage here. As long as you're lashed onto the draft, at least to the first fuel stop, you're still very much in the race. And it looks like the top 20 drivers have that pack going. It looks like TJ Rogers, number 72 machine, lacking back just a little bit. Rogers has Waldo and Walker tucked in behind him. So that's going to be the start of that second pack that's just kind of hanging out, enjoying the show, and not using up nearly as much fuel as those guys out front, such as Ogle, who's going to be pushing a lot of air. Robinson on the high side, falling about 4 car lengths back. And that's going to show the top 3, Ogle, McDaniel, Martin. Ogle sets the fastest lap of the race, a 49.37, as we get this freight train up to pace here. On board with Roger Hurley, the number 77 Toyota Camry. Gives you an idea of just how busy things get on the backstretch here at Talladega. And unfortunately, Jeremy, no driver gave us the magic fuel numbers here tonight. I would imagine this is going to be a one-stop race. And as Jeremy Mayo says in the spectator area, for those that are in the draft, when you're up front, such as Ogle and Robinson losing a whole lot of positions there on the high side, these drivers out front are definitely going to be burning up more air, or burning up more fuel, pushing the air across the nose. McDaniel's in a good spot there, the number 1, right off the back bumper of the number 11 owned by Ogle. And every now and then you'll see McDaniel kind of get a half car length out to the side, trying to get some cold air, cooler air into the hood of that car and prevent these things from overheating. But McDaniel shoving Ogle down the backstretch. So right now, my wager is fuel window is going to open up around lap 35. But I'm interested to see what the stops are going to be from these drivers, as the lead pack has definitely broken away. That's the top 25 drivers linked up right now. If we go back to 26th, it's going to be Sean Foltz leading the charge with Fish, Smith, Blyden, Verisco, Jaegerman, and Amasi all in tow. And then further back is Techmeyer and Buscemi, running 34th and 35th. They're well off the lead pack here, so I'm not sure if there was an incident earlier on, as Ogle continues to lead the charge up front here at Talladega. And it seems like the top line really falling off here. Robinson not able to keep up with his teammate. We'll see if that maybe changes throughout the course of the run, but you see more and more drivers hopping down the inside line as Ogle, McDaniel, and Martin, 1, 2, 3, all on that single inside line. Jerry Isaacs, Alan Wanamaker's here in the fray. Look at Titanium Everhart, the number 17 machine. He is 6th out on track. He has gained 5 positions. Now, last week, Everhart got his first laps led of the season with an alternative pit strategy. Let's see how he does tonight at the Super Speedway, as it looks like Robinson maybe getting a little bit more momentum built up here on the outside line. Has a whole lot of support and drafting partners behind him, as Ogle staying glued to that inside line. I just had somebody let me know. A little inside scoop, if you will. If we can go clean and green, it's looking about 35 to 38 laps of fuel is what we're hearing from some of the crew chiefs out there. So we might very well be looking at we're most likely looking at a 2-stop race here tonight. Maybe a chance of a 1-stopper for somebody squarely in the draft trying to fuel save as much as they can. And Ogle, with the help of Greg McDaniel, keeps charging along here. Looks like the top 20 have broken away just a little bit. If we go back, there's TJ Rogers, the number 72 machine. The top 21 have broken away. Rogers has Waldo, Adams, and Moore in tow. And then it's further back. You can see Sean Foltz with Fish, Smith, Amasi, Lane, Jaegerman, Garisco, Leiden, all linked up nose to tail. So already we've got 3 distinct packs out on the track. I think Brian McCubbin, that number 52 machine's in a good spot. He's tucked in behind Chris Bates, the number 81, still right at the tail of this lead pack, and that gives him a little bit more heads up if there is an incident up front. Gives him a little bit more time to take evasive maneuvers, because right now drivers hitting speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour here on the high banks of Talladega. So if something goes wrong when you're 2 or 3 wide, not a lot of time to react to it up here. And for the fans out there, let us know if you have an odds-on favorite that you're wagering on. And Ogle continues to get that shove from McDaniel. Now I'm seeing Everhart side by side with, that's going to be Josh Robinson on the high side, the number 23 machine. Robinson staying dedicated up to that middle groove here at Talladega. And it seems Courtney Nelson content following along with the number 23. Watt still on the high side as well. So they are comfortable running where they are. There's been opportunities where that outside line could kind of merge with the inside, but have not taken that opportunity. Now, I'm also curious to see when we get to the green flag pit stops, how that's going to change up. Are drivers going to try and, slot in on the inside, or are they going to wait and try and pit a lap later if they have the fuel? Always a good time when we can see these drivers try some different strategies. Still, it's the top 21 linked up in this massive pack here. They've gained about 3 seconds over TJ Rogers, sitting in 22nd in the Ford Mustang. And got to give drivers credit here. Everybody seems to be very consistent and no big hurry to make any risky moves early on. Ogle, McDaniel, Martin still linked up, quite literally nose to tail. We got Ron join us. He's cheering on Wayne Hufford. Hufford currently running 11th in that number 75. He's down 3 spots, but Still much too early, I would say, to worry about just 3 positions gained or lost. Our charger on track is going to be Clay Walker, currently showing up 10 positions in the number 2 Ford Mustang. There's Walker up on the high side, tucked in behind Brian Lynch's Hooters back number 9, and it looks like John Hinchcliffe trying to work the inside line, the number 8. And look at Robinson. Is he going to take a look to the inside line here? He almost had the opportunity with Alan Wanamaker falling back a little bit from Jerry Isaacs in the 51. Doesn't look like Robinson was quite able to get clear, even with Courtney Nelson giving a shove. And now Robinson's going to fall back to about 8th places. There's Clint Rice and Everhart on the inside line next to him. I almost thought Robinson was going to take a peek and try to get on the inside line, but again, he's kind of got a strategy going on, and he seems to be sticking to it. Ogle qualified on pole, has led every lap here. 15 laps into our feature event, the Yesteryear Racing Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. Looks like Martindale starting to shake off Chris Bates and Brian McCubbin. They need to hammer down here and get back in the draft. I think that's exactly what they do into turns 3 and 4. You do not. It is paramount that you do not lose the draft of those lead pack drivers. Because without a caution, if this thing goes green and you lose that draft, you are in big, big trouble. There's our second pack, Rogers, Waldo, Adams. And I think I see Lloyd Moore there as well. Yep, Moore at the tail end of this one. And then there's our third pack with Sean Foltz running in the number 95 machine, chased by Fish, Smith, Leiden, Garisco, Lane, Jaegerman, and Imasi. The rookie, Troy Techmeyer, Joey Buscemi still linked up 34th and 35th, but they have very well lost the draft, and it should be, if all things remain constant, it should be around lap 30 or so that Ogle will start to face lap traffic here. And what was Robinson doing? I saw him go way up against the wall there. Wonder if Nelson needed some clean air and they're communicating amongst each other, trying to get some nose in the front cowling of that 48 Ally back Chevrolet. Because most of our fans here tonight are sim racers themselves, but for those at home, if this looks nice and easy, it is a very high-stress situation being side by side at 200 miles an hour, and any little mistake, any lapse of judgment is a very quick way to send yourself and all your friends home early. Now, in addition to there only being 7 incident points available to these drivers, one good hit here at Talladega, and if you can't get it repaired in time, or you still have aero damage in the car, is absolutely going to be the end of your night. Robinson still on the high side as Ogle, McDaniel, and Martin stay committed to the inside line. Robinson next to Alan Wanamaker and that number 74 Toyota Camry. But Nelson and Robinson not nearly as synced up as McDaniel and Ogle are. Let's see if we can get an onboard from Greg McDaniel here as they make their way through the tri-oval. All over the back of the White Claw back number 11 is Greg McDaniel. This Just wait and see if he gives him one more good shove here down the backstretch. Yeah, McDaniel continuing to push Ogle forward here. Well, that outside line with Robinson, that's going to be tough to beat when Ogle and McDaniel are working together so well here as we get ready to make it 20 laps into this feature event. Now, tonight's main event, not counting pit stops and possible cautions, looking like a 75-minute feature event. That'll get extended just a little bit. If we do have cautions, we'll certainly have pit stops. But still, it is a 21-car lead pack here. Our second pack, as we pan over to TJ Rogers. Rogers in 22nd. He has all the way back to Lloyd Moore in 33rd, linked up with him. So 11 drivers in this second pack. They are currently about 6.5 seconds back from the leaders. And I think they're going to be hoping for some sort of incident up front if they don't get some momentum going their way. Everybody up front still running too wide, but not getting too close, giving everybody plenty of room, not really trying to side draft too much or make any giant moves here. Ogle, Mr. Consistent. And Ogle really racking up the laps led here tonight. Robinson still staying on that outside line. I guess the only saving grace he has here in that 23 is he's burning the same amount of fuel as his teammate Ogle is. But I'll be interested to see if they stay on the same strategy throughout the night. In the past, we've seen the Team Yada drivers switch it up amongst themselves in the team on who's running what fuel strategy. Robinson always the very clean micro center back, number 23. Side by side with Jerry Isaacs in 4th. Isaacs up 3 spots so far into this feature event. I'm curious to see how this one's going to pan out. Looks like drivers starting to dance around a little bit more here. Have to be careful not to push too far, too aggressively. Martin staying on that inside line, tucked in behind McDaniel and Ogle. Interesting that things have, I don't want to hit it with the commentator's curse, but it's good that things have went so well here so far. Now, something happened to Chris Bates and Brian McCubbin as they have lost the draft off of Patrick Martindale's number 93 machine. They are about 2.4 seconds back, so it's going to be a long way to go to get back up there to that massive pack up front. But as it stands, we think we're about 10 laps away from when the fuel window will open here for these drivers. And Robinson staying committed to that high sideline move. Larry Corey, he thinks that that top line is going to get some momentum built up here. I'm not sure. Nelson and Robinson aren't staying linked up as well as Ogle and McDaniel are up front. I mean, right now, Ogle and McDaniel rocking and rolling. Robinson's going to be burning the same amount of fuel as he continues to lead on that outside line. And it looks like the outside line is getting a little bit more antsy here. I'm starting to see them weaving around a little bit. I wonder if we're going to see some more drivers bailing on Robinson going down to that inside line. But still, you've got Robinson, Nelson, and Watts up on the high side. But now you're going to have drivers thinking about fuel stops. And it looks like we're starting to see some more drivers maybe look at some single file shenanigans. So does that mean drivers maybe getting set up for a green flag stop here? We've got Packman join us in the spectator area. Thankfully, haven't missed any carnage or shenanigans as of yet. It's been 28 laps of green flag racing here at Talladega. Ogle qualified on pole, the number 11 pink and black white claw-backed Ford Mustang, and continues to lead and dominate here at Talladega. Something has happened. Roger Hurley falls down the standings a little bit there to P12. And I see lap traffic ahead for Ogle. That is going to be the rookie driver, the 102 Toyota, Troy Techmeyer, as well as Joey Buscemi in the 56 machine. Maybe the field will come down pit road before lap traffic becomes a factor, because that's going to force this field into a bit of a 3-wide foray. Now, Ogle's in a good spot here. He can be the first driver to cut through and maybe leave some carnage behind him. At super speedways, usually that top spot seems to be the safest one out on track. Robinson and Nelson still up on the high side, but everybody else has dropped down to that inside groove. And what I suspect is the field getting themselves sorted out before it is time to come down pit road. Ogle and Robinson have been in front of their respective lines for the duration of this event so far, so they're going to be burning up more fuel than those behind them. Will the rest of the field come down with Ogle and Robinson? Or are they going to leave them out to dry, stay out another lap? And then that way, those two fast drivers of Ogle and Robinson wouldn't have the draft support when they get back out on track. It's going to be a game of chess here at Talladega. Chess being upheld at 206 miles an hour was the trap speed for Ogle last time by. Robinson still staying up high, the number 23, so he can't be getting ready for a pit stop just quite yet. And if he is anybody going to let him down on that inside line? Nelson staying behind that number 23 machine. We feel like that fuel window is going to be coming up rather quickly, especially for Ogle and Robinson, who have been out front of their lines the entire duration of this feature event. Ogle's going to lead our field around one more time. And now we've got some lap traffic. That is the 102 of Techmeyer, the 56 of Buscemi. They're going to stay up against the wall. Thankfully, the field caught them at the backstretch. Robinson's going to try and use the draft off of him a little bit there. See if he can pull himself forward a little bit, but it's going to be 3 wide through 3 and 4. Techmeyer and Buscemi wisely go up against the wall. Looks like the field's going to get through nice and tidy here. Well done to everybody. And still, Ogle stays out. I can't imagine they can go that much longer on fuel up towards the front. I think everybody behind Ogle and Robinson's going to have at least one more lap of fuel, being able to save a little bit here. McDaniel keeping the momentum forward, continuing to give a bump to Ogle down the backstretch at Talladega. Lap drivers tuck in behind this lead pack. That is going to put Troy Techmeyer in the lucky dog position. And no action on pit road yet for these competitors. Everybody staying out, starting our 35th lap here at Talladega Super Speedway, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series at the Old Bastards Racing League. And you got to give Robinson credit as well. Really hasn't lost a fistful of positions on that outside line. It's been staying around that 6th, 7th place mark after losing ground to the inside line. But I'm very excited to see some green flag pit stops. That's going to be a very busy pit road here. Well, looked like a couple drivers took a peek at it. The 94 of Martin, the 51 of Isaacs, but everybody stays out for another go at it here. And this is where the chess comes into play as Robinson's backing off the pace. He's looking for an inside line here to get down low. Nelson found a spot. So I think we're going to see some drivers on pit road next time by. Oh, and Robinson's getting hung out to dry here, it looks like. Get your cameras ready. I think drivers are about to start some green flag pit stops. Either this lap or the next. Robinson able to get in the inside line, falling back to 9th. He is now 7 positions down, so what's happening right now for the fans at home is everybody wants to get set up on the left side of the track. That way, when it is time to come down pit road, you don't have to cross 2 or 3 lanes of different drivers. And it looks like it's going to be 11 drivers in this lead pack. You've got 12th through 16th linked up as well. McDaniel's going to come down pit road. Everybody's going to come down pit road. Looks like I see one driver staying out. No. Who stayed out? It was Roger Hurley in the 77 stayed out. So you've got second. Well, that was about 20 drivers came down pit road there. 11 opt to stay out, and Roger Hurley is going to get a lap led here at Talladega. So it looks like 11. Now let's make it 14 drivers have stayed out, one additional lap. That is a very, very busy pit road. Now it's interesting. Looks like everybody who came down pit road on that cycle all took 4 fresh tires and a tank of gas. I thought we might see some drivers opt for a little bit shorter pit times to get some track positions there. There's Roger Hurley down pit road. Waldo and Foltz will follow suit. Tom Massey, though, is going to stay out. And he's going to get credit for a lap led in the number 62 machine. Now, this is interesting. McDaniel and Isaacs were slightly faster than Ogle on pit road. So once this pit cycle finishes, it's going to be McDaniel, the number 1 machine, as your race leader. You've got 5 drivers total who have yet to pit. Amasi, Moore, Lane, Leiden. And Garisco just came down pit road. So it could actually be, depending how quickly he gets up to pace, Roger Hurley could be your race leader with a bit of an overcut. But here comes Jerry Isaacs, the number 51 machine, and a freight train of talent right behind. Here comes Isaacs, here comes Ogle, and here comes Wayne Hufford. Amasi, Moore, Lane, Leiden, all down pit road. Jerry Isaacs is going to be your race leader now. The number 51 machine, Ogle, for the first time here tonight, playing second fiddle. Wayne Hufford had a good run on pit road. He's going to be currently showing as 7th, but once the pit cycle is complete, that's going to be the 3rd place position. There we go. It's the leaderboard updates. It's Isaacs, Ogle, Hufford, Wanamaker, McDaniel, your top 5. Robinson sitting in 9th is way, way back from the lead pack. Your top 5 have a 2-second advantage, as there is Hurley, Rice, Walker, and Robinson linked up. But again, 2 seconds back from the top 5. They're going to have to really work together. And now it's Ogle's turn to do a little bit of pushing, this time to Jerry Isaacs. Isaacs up 6 spots. So everybody just about went 37 to 38 laps of fuel. We had a couple of outliers. 1 driver in pit road on lap 36. 2 drivers. Yeah, it's called about 4 drivers. Came down pit road on lap 39. That's going to put our next estimated pit stop around lap 70. It'll close around lap 80 for these drivers at the absolute latest. And it's definitely split the pack up here a little bit. Now let's see how Ogle does as the pusher here. Let's pan back. It looks like Hurley, Rice, and Walker have rejoined the lead pack. So you've got 1st through 9th place linked up nose to tail. A little bit further back, there's John Hinchcliffe leading the 2nd pack. As you've got some drivers such as Hurley, Rice, Robinson, all just clicked off their fastest laps of the race. High 48.8s for all 3 of those drivers mentioned. And Robinson at the tail end of that lead pack just set the fastest lap of the race with a 48.73. Robinson actually ran a full half second faster than anybody up front, so putting that massive draft advantage to his favor. It'll be interesting how this one goes. Robinson not normally on the outside looking in of a top 3, much less a top 5. He's sitting in 9th right now, down 7 spots. Clay Walker, though, having a fantastic race. That number 2, he is up 18 positions after that pit stop. Now running 8th out on track. Robert Garisco had problems, though. He rolls out of pit road after 56 seconds in his pit stall, so it must have been some sort of penalty there for Garisco, the number 28 Ford Mustang. And the field getting a little bit split up here. Isaac still out front, getting some laps led, padded to his race resume. Drivers are being displayed to cross, green and white flags, signaling the halfway mark of today's main event. Now, it looks like the top 5 getting a little bit of some breathing room from those behind them. And that is a lap down driver between them. I can't quite see who that is. That is Michael Watts, number 84. So Watts had problems, came down pit road twice. Not sure if he got something. He must have had some sort of penalty. Very uncharacteristic to see him coming down pit road or making a mistake. I can't imagine he missed his pit stall. There was no incidents reported up here in the broadcast booth. The only thing that might have happened, Robert Garisco had an off track earlier. Let's see, maybe Watts was involved in that somehow? No, that's going to be a solo incident for Garisco there through pit road. We're not quite sure why Watts would need to come down pit road a second time. So that's going to put 31 drivers on the lead lap. Michael Watts, the number 84, in lucky dog contention if we do have an incident here. I'd imagine these guys are going to try and get through this second fuel run before we try and wad up some perfectly good race cars. As the top 9 all linked up nose to tail, single file on the inside line. Let's pan it back to John Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe has Everhart, Martin, Nelson, Lynch, Hill. As 10th through 15th in line, you've got Brian Lindsay, Dustin Martinson, 16th and 17th in formation. Another pack, 18th through 22nd. And then you're on one more pack, 23rd through 26th. And finally, you've got a pack running 28th through 31st. I think Isaacs and Ogle, first and second, want to play it safe here. I really think everybody in the top 9 does as well. Just try and click off some laps, keep that momentum up. As they are gaining ground over 10th place back. That's going to allow them a little bit more breathing room if there's any mistakes or issues on pit road. In a wide open super speedway event, tenths of a second can definitely matter out on the track. Now, pit stops could happen as early as around lap 53 or 54 for drivers to make it to the end, but they're going to want to run those tanks out as empty as they can. Give themselves at least a little bit of breathing room if we do have a late race caution or possibly green-white checker attempts. And if we do, that's going to throw all the strategy completely out of the window for these drivers. Still, everybody seems to be content running single file. Roger Hurley backs off a little bit as he's tucked in behind Watts, who is a lap down here. Watts is just going to latch onto this lead pack and follow along in his 84 machine. He's hoping for a late race caution to get that wave around that lucky dog. Everybody just rocking and rolling. Now John Hinchcliffe and Everhart, have closed a little bit of ground. They gained about 4/10 or so on that top 9. And they are definitely nose to tail. That's Hinchcliffe, Everhart, and William Martin. Courtney Nelson in this pack, as well as Brian Lynch. They are hammering down right now to try and catch up to that lead pack. Now there's the old saying, don't push the pusher, but these guys seem aggressive with the bump drafting, trying to help Hinchcliffe edge forward. I mean, it looked like Martin was giving a shove to Everhart there. So it's interesting. Everhart will give a shove to Hinchcliffe. And if there's a gap, Martin will give Everhart a little bit of a bump, helping to propel that freight train forward. They've whittled it down to 1.6 seconds, so Hinchcliffe and Everhart have it going on here. They are doing exactly what they need to close up to that lead pack. Down to 1.75 seconds that this second pack of drivers running 10th through 15th have made it within of those lead drivers. But if they don't keep that momentum up, they're going to keep losing ground to that top 9. Now it's back to 1.9 seconds in favor of the top 9 drivers. We're going to pan a little bit further back to our third pack out on track. There's James Waldo, the number 89 machine. He's got Foltz, Fish, Bates, Smith, Lindsay, Martinson all behind him here. But right now, Waldo running 16th. 13.7 seconds back from the race leader, so he's going to need a little bit of help and a little bit of luck to go his way if he wants to try and secure a top 10, if not a top 5. Because Isaacs and Ogle, your race leaders with Wayne Hufford in tow, just clicking off laps, making it look easy. We're keeping an eye on that 10th place group. They're right around that 1.5 second mark back from the race leaders. I am hopeful those drivers can be able to work together. That would be so cool to have 10th through 15th place able to rejoin the lead pack on their own merit here. And maybe the one that fans can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you can pick up that draft if you're within about a half second of the guy in front of you. And there they are. Trying to track down the tail end of this lead pack. They've got it down to 1.3 seconds, and now they can see him a little bit here. That's going to give them a little bit more inspiration as they close it at 1.2 seconds back. Hinchcliffe still getting the shove from Everhart. Down to 1.1 seconds. Hinchcliffe in the lead of this second pack with the help of Everhart, Martin, Nelson, Lynch, and Hill. Might be able to close it down here. They're within a second. What a fantastic run from these drivers. You'll know when they catch that pack because they're going to close that rather quickly. Still 1.1 seconds off the tail of the lead pack. You can just see Robinson out of frame. It's within a second. Is it enough to pick up the draft for John Hinchcliffe? If so, it's going to pull that second pack forward. hanging out right about 9-10, so I don't think they've quite got it yet. Needing just a little bit, a couple more tenths. Oh, they've got to be in the draft now. Oh, they're gaining ground rather quickly. I think Hinchcliffe and the guys have made it happen here. A tip of the hat to those drivers for being able to claw back almost 3 seconds back in a smaller pack of drivers. Within a half second, yep, they've 100% got it now. Look how quickly Hinchcliffe closes the gap to the tail end of Robinson. It looks like that's Robert Carisco in tow as well. And oh, somebody got a little bit squirrely there. Everhart went high. I think Hinchcliffe is going to let him back in line, but no, we've got some second round of green flag stops going on. Isaacs leads the field in. Everhart is going to get another lap led. Back-to-back races. Everhart, Martin, and Hill have stayed out. Looks like Waldo, Foltz, Fish, Bates. A lot of drivers. So 14 drivers are going to stay out a little while longer. Who's going to lead our field off of pit road? Is it going to be Greg McDaniel again, or is it going to be somebody else? Looks like it's going to be Jerry Isaacs. Once again, out front, Ogle rejoining the track there, second off the line. Then there's McDaniel and Hurley. So based on what we saw from previous fuel runs, everybody who came down pit road, even if they're pushing dirty air, has enough fuel to make it till the end with 3 laps extra. Your top 14 drivers still out on track after the lap 37 or 38 pit stop. That's Everhart, Martin, and Hill. 1, 2, 3 with a little bit of lap traffic. I'm fairly certain that's Garisco in tow. So I think, unfortunately, for Everhart, Martin, and Hill, these top 3 drivers right now, I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble as they come down pit road. And they're looking to be able to have 3 drivers out on track with them. Meanwhile, that previous lead pack is going to have a lot of momentum. Speaking of momentum, you've got Waldo, Foltz, Fish, Bates, Smith, Lindsey, Martinson working together here. Now first through 7th. As Waldo gets a lap led in the number 89 Toyota. It's all about having some friends on pit road once you complete that final stop, because those are going to be the drivers either helping you towards the win or trying to help you at least close that lead gap that we saw before this green flag pit cycle. We're coming up on 60 laps of green flag racing here at Talladega so far. 2/3 of the way through this feature event. Thankfully, we have not seen a caution yet. As Waldo, Foltz, and Fish continue the charge. Each one of those drivers up over at least 20 positions here based on their strategy. But it looks like Jerry Isaacs back in 12th with Ogle and McDaniel as well as Hurley and Rice behind that number 51 machine. They are currently gaining time on the lead pack from 12th place back. So Waldo needs a little bit more draft support if he wants to still be up front at the tail end of this thing. And there we go. They're going to come down pit road. It's going to be a battle on the brakes. Looks at Foltz very deep into pit road. A little bit of tire smoke, but everybody does a good job. Jaegerman picks up a lap led, number 27. He's got Rogers, Adams, and McCubbin in tow. Let's see when Jaegerman, Rogers, Adams, McCubbin opt to come down pit road. They're the only drivers in the top 15 who have yet to pit here for their final stop. And they're going to stretch that fuel run out a little bit, staying out yet another lap. Right now, they're about 18.5 seconds up over Jerry Isaacs, but Isaacs has a freight train of talent tucked in behind him. Barring any incident, that is going to be your future top three: Isaacs, Ogle, and McDaniel. Hurley and Rice will round out the top five once the pit stops are completed, but that's a big if we get through all the pit stops without incident. Rogers giving a good shove to Jaegerman there down the backstretch. This should be one of our final packs of drivers who come down pit road. But they're going to keep going on a little while longer here. I just saw, I think that was Mark Fish and Jim Smith on pit road for their final stops of the night. Right now, 29 drivers on the lead lap. Still have all 35 entries out on track running as well. Oh, a bit of a blink there from Gavin Adams, number 30 machine. Ryan McCubbin's going to avoid getting too close to the back of that number 30 Chevrolet in case he blinks out at an inopportune time. Troy Techmeyer, the rookie, the 102 Toyota, he's down pit road for what should be his final time of the evening. And still, these top four drivers stay out. But every lap, they're losing ground to Isaacs, Ogle, and everybody else here who pitted on lap 56. There we go. There's Jerry Isaacs, the 51. With Ogle tucked in behind him. I would not be surprised Ogle and McDaniel working together at the end of this thing to get one of those machines up front. And we had Jeremy Mayo asking about what's going on with Josh Robinson, who's leading that second pack. He is currently 4 seconds back from what we think is going to be the future top five, led by Jerry Isaacs. The top four drivers out on track still have yet to pit, and they're losing ground to the drivers who've already completed their pit stops. So those top four are really hoping for a caution here to avoid hemorrhaging too much time, as we are about to be, there we go, 35 laps left to go, 25 laps left to go here at Talladega Super Speedway. Robinson losing a little bit of ground now, 4.5 seconds back from Isaacs, who runs in 5th, and Clint Rice running in 9th. Jaegerman has stayed out another lap as well in the 27 machine, so he's staying dedicated to the strategy. And right now, 5th through 9th place, still gaining ground on Robinson, who runs in 10th. And Robinson has a fleet of drivers. He's got 8 drivers tucked in behind him here. And I'm interested as well to see what the strategy play is going to be from Jaegerman, Rogers, Adams, McCubbin, your top 4. Still waiting for them to come down pit road for their final pit of the evening. in theory, they can stretch that run out till lap 75, so I think they're waiting to see if there's an incident where they can pick up a lot of track position. But that is going to be quite the gamble. And as the fans say, I got to verbatim, if this goes green, there's a lot of ifs in play here. Isaacs in that second pack, 15.4 seconds back, continuing to chip away. Almost a half second per lap on the top 4 drivers here. But I think all the drivers are happy. We haven't seen too much 3-wide action, especially with lap traffic. And every now and then we're picking up the lead pack, picking up one driver here, one driver there as they get ready to approach more lap traffic. That, if they can work together, will just increase the momentum that they're carrying. As I think that maybe, let's see who that is. That might be Martinson and Waldo just ahead. Running 27th and 28th out on track. We're waiting to see who is about to go a lap down, if not 2 laps down, as Jaegerman continues charging forward here. Could also, yeah, could very well be drivers who are already a lap down there. That may be Buscemi in the 56. That's exactly who that is. So Buscemi giving plenty of lines available. And that is also the number 24 machine of Brian Lindsay going a lap down. So Buscemi and Lindsay going up high against the wall, letting that lead pack by. But look, that's exactly what I was talking about. They tucked in right behind the top 4 drivers. And that is going to make the draft train a little bit stronger. Maybe give them some advantage back against Isaacs running in 5th, who's been closing the gap. Ooh, somebody hopped out of line a little bit. That was Gavin Adams. Dipping below the apron just for a moment out of turn 2. Might have missed the mark. And when you're running nose to tail like this, you really can't see a whole lot in front of you besides the rear bumper of the driver right ahead. Having to look out the left side mirror to make sure you're lined up against that yellow line. And for me as a driver, that's what makes it even harder if you're in that middle or high line. You don't have near the amount of reference marks as those hugging the apron. Jaegerman sticking to the strategy with 20 laps left to go. He's got 4, maybe 5 more laps of fuel from our napkin math up here in the broadcast booth. Because 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, those are going to be the drivers I'm predicting are battling for the lead if this thing continues to run itself green. DJ Rogers taking a peek to the inside line of Jaegerman. Not really seeing any line choices that are going to indicate they're coming down pit road here. Oh, they take a look. They thought they might have been coming down pit road, staying out for yet another. But Isaacs back in 5th has closed it within 15 seconds of these top 4 drivers, and Isaacs should not have to pit to make it till the end here. He should be 3 laps or more good on fuel, even leading his pack of drivers. But look, Jaegerman and friends about to pick up some more drivers into the draft freight train they have going on. I think they really need a caution if they want this strategy to pan out, but Hey, Jaegerman's getting some TV time in the M&M's back number 27 Chevrolet, as well as TJ Rogers, Gavin Adams, Brian McCubbin on that alternative strategy. There's James Waldo and Dustin Martinson are going to go a lap down here. Expecting to see those two drivers hop down the inside line as quickly as possible. Right now, Brian Lindsay, number 24, shows in that lucky dog position. As he's latched onto the back of Brian McCubbin, who currently runs 4th out on track. Are we staying out for another one? Yes, we are. Jaegerman and friends are going for it here. We're waiting to see when this top 4 is going to have to finally come down pit road. They've got to be getting short on fuel here. And that should give the race lead back to Jerry Isaacs, the 51. Isaacs running 5th out on track with Ogle, McDaniel, Hurley, and Rice linked up. That group still maintaining a 5.3 second advantage over Josh Robinson. Robinson's got 8 or 9 drivers behind him as they're running 10th through 18th, but not gaining any ground on that second pack of drivers, and what's what we think is going to be for the race win here if we continue green, as we've got 15 laps left to go here at Talladega. Starting to get some more lap down drivers linking on to the back of this lead pack. Isaacs back in 5th, has whittled it down to 12.9 seconds. So if we stay green, and here we go, the lead pack's going to come down pit road for their final scheduled spot. That's Jaegerman, Rogers, Adams, and McCubbin. That should give the race lead back to Jerry Isaacs here, the number 51, who has Ogle in tow. Isaacs once again back out on front, and it's going to be a 5-car shootout here. Robinson in 6th, 5.8 seconds back from the lead drivers. With 14 laps left to go, that is a big ask to track down some drivers who have been bump drafting extremely well over the duration of this feature event. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Isaacs' teammates with Ogle and McDaniel, the Team Miata drivers, swap hats constantly, but I would not be surprised for Ogle and McDaniel. And actually, I'm not positive that McDaniel is teammates on Team Miata, so I need to check that if I can. But Ogle and McDaniel worked very well in the opening stints. If there's not some sort of alliance lined up here, I would not be surprised if the 11-1 to hop out of line and try and take over the race lead with just a few laps left to go. More Leiden, Martindale, Lane, and Amasi down pit road for their final stops of the night. Gotcha. Mayo let me know that Ogle and McDaniel, not official teammates, but again, I don't think anybody would be surprised to see them working together here for a possible first or second. I would not discount as well Roger Hurley or Clint Rice. Rice won the season opener at Daytona, so he is no stranger to super speedways, and they've gained almost 2 more seconds on Robinson sitting in 6th. It is now a 7-second gap. that the race leaders have over that 6th place driver of Robinson. They're going to pick up some more lap down drivers here as McDaniel squeezes up to that middle line. Just absolutely steamrolling around the banks here at Talladega. Tom Massey, the number 62 machine, he's going to come back down pit road. Must have had some sort of problems there. Currently showing 27 drivers on the lead lap, as we are 11 laps to go. I'm a bit surprised with no cautions to see this as a 5-car shootout at this point. There's a lot of drivers that I would have kind of expected to be up here in the mix, as we've got 4 or 5 different packs of drivers rocking and rolling, but with the green flag runs we've had, really makes the incidents worse for the drivers who have a little bit of bobbles. They've had no chance of reprieve to try and catch back up. Clint Rice takes a big lunge on the outside line, trying to use lap traffic to his advantage. I think that's going to be Victor Lane, the number 10 machine. Rice was trying something there, using the draft of lap down drivers, but I'm not sure if that's going to pan out well for him here as he's side by side with Hurley. Rice is going to drop back down the inside line, was trying something out, and rejoins the inside. As that was more Leiden and Lane going to go down a lap, so 24 drivers remain on the lead lap. 10 laps left to go. Gotta give Rice some credit here. He was, sticking his nose out, seeing if, maybe we can make something happen here. Quickly realized that was not the right call and really didn't lose any time at all there, giving it the effort. Lane hops down the inside line to battle against Moore and Leiden. And that worked well for Lane as he's going to grab his 6th position gained, now up in the 25th. As we get ready to make it 8 laps left to go, I don't think it's going to be until the white flag lap until we see some really big lunges here. And then the story will be told on who has aligned themselves with the other drivers. And Jerry Isaacs in the hot seat, the number 51 machine. All he can do is just run his own race, keep hitting his marks, and keep an eye on that rear view mirror to see what's going on behind. Hurley and Rice have fallen back just a smidgen, about 1/4 of a second before they accordion back to those lead drivers. I wonder if they're going to try and set something up here. But with the 3 drivers working together up front, that's going to be a real tough call for Hurley and Rice to make. They may have to be reactive instead of proactive in these final laps. Now, this is where things could get a little bit dicey. Ogle sticking his nose out alongside Isaacs, trying to get some clean air, trying to get those engine temps down just a little bit before we get into a situation where there's going to be no more breaks, no more time to relax. Everybody in the top 5 just been kind of cruising here. The only person we saw try anything was Clint Rice, trying to use lap traffic to see if he can pull himself ahead of Hurley, and had to back out of that game plan. 6 laps left to go at Talladega. 5 drivers in the lead lap. They've put an 8-second gap over Josh Robinson's 23 machine, who sits in 6th. I think Hurley and Rice are going to try and look to some help from the drivers a lap down behind them. But with just those two drivers of Hurley and Rice who might work together, that's going to be tough if Isaacs, Ogle, and McDaniel decide to settle for 1, 2, 3. 3 cars is more than 2. That's broadcast math, and that's more draft available for you. 5 laps left to go here at the YesterYear Racing Cup Series, and there's lap traffic on the horizon. Hurley and Rice pull up outside here. Looks like they're going to have the support from Lane, who's a lap down to number 10. And who's going to be able to pick up the draft from traffic ahead of them? Hurley showing up into 3rd, Rice 4th. McDaniel has fallen back a little bit here. Hurley, a big run up the outside line, has the race lead by a half car. There's going to be lap traffic ahead. That's the 32 machine, who's going to go high there, and Hurley gets edged, and Hurley's going to come up into the track. They're able to hold it so far. So Hurley, Icarus flew close to the sun, and now Isaac, the race leader, is going to split it 3 wide with traffic with Ogle in hot pursuit. Ooh, Hurley is going to have some words to say after this one. So it's Isaacs and Ogle, 1st and 2nd. They put 4 tenths over McDaniel. Rice is still in it. Hurley is effectively out of it here, unless he can really work that lap traffic draft. Hurley showing 2.2 seconds back. And Hurley is going to be stuck in no man's land here. Now let's see. Does anybody think they've earned a self-serve penalty on the final laps? Looks like the front of Isaac's machine looks good. Not seeing any damage. 3 laps left to go here. You've got Isaacs, Ogle, and McDaniel linked up nose to tail. Rice 3 tenths off the back of the top 3, looking for help with lap traffic. If we can take the white flag without incident, we will not use any of our green-white checker attempts. Hurley, unfortunately, has fallen way, way back. Now he's got Robinson in tow, but they're not going to have enough laps left to get to these top 3. McDaniel looks to the middle line with the number 20, I think that's the number 26 I saw, of Lloyd Moore. So right now, your top 3 drivers looking for a little bit of help from lap traffic to give them a push up towards the front. McDaniel goes high, hoping Lane gets him a shove there. Lane is happy to deliver a little bit of bobbing and weaving. McDaniel's making a run at the outside line. You've got Isaacs and Ogle linked up on the inside line. There's Clint Rice. He's 3rd in line on the high side. But we've got a lot of lap traffic mixed in here. Lane willing to lend his support to McDaniel. McDaniel showing us the race leader here. Can he get clear of Isaacs? It looks like McDaniel could get clear here. Is he going to drop down low? Seems to be happy up on the middle line here. He's going to bring Lane with him. No, they bail out of it. There we go. McDaniel and Lane down to the inside line. Rice battling now for the 3rd place spot. White flag is out here at Talladega. It's McDaniel, Isaacs, Ogle, 1, 2, 3, but it's anybody's guess how this is going to work out as lap traffic has joined the party here at Talladega. Ogle goes high behind Jerry Isaacs' number 51 machine. It's going to be a bump track battle down the backstretch. McDaniel looking for some help from Victor Lane. Not going to find enough of it. Isaacs and Ogle take over the top 2. Now Clint Rice is going to move up into 3rd. Oh, look at this. We called it as a game of chess, and they are delivering as they're 3 wide behind as lap traffic's going to have their own battle here. It's Isaacs, Ogle, Rice, a bit of a breakaway. Rice pulls up alongside Ogle, see if he can grab a 2nd place here as they come to the start-finish line at Talladega for the final time of the night. It's going to be Jerry Isaacs, a comfortable lead. Who's it going to be for 2nd? It shows Isaacs, McDaniel, Ogle, your top 3. What a fantastic run for these drivers, and that is Jerry Isaacs, who put himself in the right place, the right time, picking up the win here at Talladega. So we're going to try and get these top drivers up to victory lane following their celebration photos. And man, oh man, what a wild night. That was a fantastic finish. That was 90 laps of green flag racing. That is what the YesterYear Racing Cup Series at the Old Bastards Racing League is known for. As we get our celebratory photo, and then Jerry Isaacs gonna burn it down here in Alabama. And a very well-deserved win. Man, what a ton of fun that one was to watch. Ogle and McDaniel pulling away here, so it's going to be Isaacs, McDaniel, Ogle, your top three, and Isaacs enjoying the limelight. I think Isaacs might have forgotten how to do a victory burnout. Our flagman Barney watching on with the number 51 machine. What's he doing? There's Isaacs, hanging out, having a good time. Seems like Isaac's content to wait there in victory lane. There we go, I heard it. And Isaac's gonna put on a smoke show for our fans at home. Not quite sure what he was waiting for, but he's here to deliver. And Isaac's a very well-deserved burnout there. We're going to get our drivers up here to victory lane. And we're going to start things off with Mr. Tom Ogle. Join us in the White Claw back number 11. Tom qualified on pole, but you still have to be happy with a podium finish and a clean race car here tonight.
I'm real happy with that finish. There wasn't much I could do, and Jerry had been with me since the beginning, so I kind of wanted to get him the win there. Plus, like, the lap cars there, the last couple laps in the mix, and then when Clint side drafted me, I thought my car had shut off. Like, it pulled me back so far from Jerry, I thought he had another gear.
Now, with it being a top 5 and then a top 4 breakaway, you said there was nothing you can do. How much are you just kind of along for the ride at that point, and how much planning and strategy can you try and figure out?
Well, I thought coming to like 2 to go, those other guys would mix it up, and you wanted to be in the second row. I told Jerry to go. He kind of, when we passed back for the lead, I told him to stay on the top, but he went to the bottom. It worked out. At that point, you don't want to fight with 12 cars. You want to fight with 5. You know what I mean? So I just stayed glued to his bumper until my temperatures maxed out, and then I would let off, and then I would get back on his bumper.
Well, it seemed like it worked out well for you. Still a great points night tonight and gaining some ground in the championship chase. Tom, before I let you sign off and unwind from 90 grueling laps, who do you want to give a shout to that helped get you this podium here tonight?
The admins for all the work they put in on the league. Greg for pushing me that whole first half, and then the second half. You guys for doing a great job broadcasting it. My teammates, Team Miata, all helped me out. We lost some boys on pit stops, but a good night all in all. Probably not the most exciting thing to watch for you, but it's exciting in the car.
Still plenty of great racing, so we enjoyed it up here. Tom, always a
Okay,
pleasure,
good.
bud, and hope to have you
Thank you,
back up
James.
here next week.
Yep. See ya.
That was Mr. Tom Ogle bringing it home in second. Now we don't have to go far to Greg McDaniel, the Cartoon Network back #1 machine. Greg, Tom was telling us how much fun that was to drive, but was it fun or stressful in those final laps?
The missing, I don't know how that one guy saved it and didn't wreck the field. That was stressful, but other than that, the whole entire race was fun. Right, racing here at Talladega with pit strategies and guys, if you can avoid having a caution here, I know the field gets broken up and it's probably not that much fun for people to watch. Uh, Trying to stay glued to somebody's bumper to get a tenth of a second a lap on a next pack and stuff, and while not wrecking the guy, it's really, really exciting and fun. So
Now, Greg, in the opening laps, you were definitely the pusher there in the #1, continuing to give bumps after bumps to Ogle, and it seemed like things went well, but after the pit stop, I think it was anybody's guess with you guys in the top 5.
yeah, the first pit stop, I had a really good pit stop, and I got out way too far out in front of everybody, and I probably should have slowed down as I was exiting, or I probably shouldn't. If that had been the only pit stop of the race, I wouldn't have given up the bottom and let them have all gone by. But I decided to be nice since there was one more pit stop, and I'm okay at pit stops and see how it played out. So, yeah, I don't know. I as long as you're in the top 5 and all 5 of you are together at the end, it's a crapshoot. You saw the run. I was in 5th, I think, uh, on halfway through the last lap, and I was just lucky. Something happened. I drifted. Clint went by on the outside, and I dropped back, not intentionally really, and then I got such a good run on him, and the third lane was open. I just took my run up to the third lane, and it was good enough for second place.
Well, a lot of fun to watch for us up here in the booth. I'm sure it was a blast for you guys out on track. And Greg, a great run, a great points tonight. Before I let you go and unwind from these 90 laps, who do you want to give a shout to that helps put you up here?
Well, thank you, and Goon Squad first for all your great work you do on the broadcast. Top Flight Computers, Victory Lane Sports, Butt Kicker, and YesterYear Racing, our league sponsors. Thank you to the admins and the great job they always do in this league, and great job by everybody racing tonight. Second week in a row we haven't had a hole. It's going to be a real easy race review I'm headed to here as soon as I get done. So nice job by all the drivers. Thanks to my friend Dave watching, and my girlfriend Sharon for letting me do this. And that's it.
Awesome. Greg, always a pleasure, bud. Hope to have you back up here more throughout the season.
I hope so too. Thanks, James.
Thank you, sir. And that was Greg McDaniel bringing it home in second. But up next, no surprise, Jerry was a race car driver. Welcome back to the top spot, my friend. That was a ton of fun for us to watch.
Oh man, it was a fun race to be out on the track. I really enjoyed it.
Now, it seemed like it was definitely a game of chess going on for the duration of that event. Did you have any strategy up there in the top 5, or was it just kind of wait till the white flag and see where things landed?
You know, I did have a strategy in that I kind of wanted to go a little long early and then be one of the first groups to pit at the end, which kind of worked out because the guys that I was running around kind of must have had the same strategy. We weren't talking at the time. So I was just doing my best to hang on to them and latch on, and it worked out well there at the end.
Well, it definitely worked out. First win of the season here for you tonight. And Jerry, I mean, it's Talladega. Sometimes things go really well. Sometimes things go really badly. Were you expecting tonight to go caution free here this evening?
You know, if I wasn't, I mean, it's OBRL, so I wasn't expecting much in terms of cautions, you know, but I would have thought we might have had one. I think it was a fantastic race. Nothing I love more than green flag racing with green flag pit stops.
Yeah, it led to a little bit of strategy and showed what you guys can do, you know, outside of just holding it wide and making those drafting chess plays. And with those final laps, you found yourself with about a quarter of a second advantage. So at what point in that final lap did you realize, I think I'm bringing this thing home today?
Well, when I crossed the line and not before then, generally speaking, you don't want to be the front car going into the last lap. And I knew that somebody was going to try and make a run. Greg and I think Clint maybe had a great run going. And then when they got to Tom, the side draft just pulled Tom back and pulled both cars back. And I probably just got lucky there. But honestly, I was thinking that last lap somebody was going to be able to make a run. I think lap traffic may have helped a little bit too. I was able to get a sniff of their draft, which kept me up front. So a little crazy, but I wasn't counting on a win until I crossed the line.
Well, very wise, especially here at Talladega. Jerry, a pleasure to have you up in the top spot of the booth for the first time this season. And tonight, my friend, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps pick up this big win for you in the 51?
Well, first and foremost, Mr. Tom Ogle for pushing me to the win. I could not have done it with him there at the end. I made a lane change and he came with me. He didn't have to, so I really appreciate the push. I got to thank my friends at Mad Spartan Sim Racing putting me in the car. Cody Richardson, my crew chief, kind of talking me through and spotting tonight. But as always, man, Team Goon Squad putting on the broadcast, YesterYear Racing for sponsoring it, and OBRL for having such a great league. Last but not least, hi, Mom.
Very well said, Jerry. Always a pleasure, buddy. Cool to have you in the top spot the first time this season. Hopefully that momentum keeps up and I can get you up here more often.
Oh, man, I'd love to talk to you again. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. That was Mr. Jerry Isaacs bringing it home in the top spot. He was accompanied by Greg McDaniel and Mr. Tom Ogle rounding out the top three. On behalf of the Old Bastards Racing League, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series, Butt Kicker, Victory Lane Sports, and Top Flight Computers, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for spending your Sunday night with us, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.